So start recording. So it should be recording now. So hello there. Thank you for
Hi.
joining me. Let's start with the basics. So what is your name, and in very general terms, what do you do?
Okay. My name is Rudy. I live in Slovakia, which is the center of Europe. And well, I am kind of like a multi-person. I normally, professionally, I'm a programmer. I develop games for
Uh-huh.
mobile. And in free time, I develop free software, or
Uh-huh.
at least I try to contribute a little bit. And um, yeah, and I'm also a student,
Uh-huh.
kind of late life student. And also a father. So kind of four big roles, and each very different.
Yeah, yeah, and each very demanding.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start. Of course, you told me about the fact that you live in Emacs, and I want to start with that. But then you gave me like a paragraph where you were like, we can talk about software, languages, learning, mathematics. And I'm like, well, I don't have like 10 hours. But yeah, let's start with Emacs and then we will go with the flow. Tell me about Emacs. So you develop games, you program. So what do you do with Emacs? What is your workflow like?
uh, yeah. So basically, I live in Emacs. We can say it like that, just like Ihor said on your last video.
Mhm.
So basically, uh, basically in all four roles that I mentioned, right? I use Emacs heavily as the centerpiece of everything,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Mhm. So, for example, mobile games. Which mobile platform are we talking about, or is it any platform?
Yeah, so so we have a duopoly, right?
Yeah.
So it's either Google or Apple, unfortunately. So both of those platforms, and and also some of our games also run on desktop, but
Uh-huh.
that's kind of like second thought, experimental kind of stuff. Not much effort put there. But yeah, and basically I started as like if we go a little bit back in time,
Mhm.
when I was young, I started with 8-bit computers long ago.
Yes,
Ever
yes.
ever since I have been sitting in front of this computer, um, and so basically, I had this initial period when I discovered Linux, like back in like 4 MB of memory times.
Haha, the
And
good old times, yeah.
yeah, those were like Linux was back then a really problematic. Like basically, you installed it like from 6 floppies and no devices worked. You know, so basically that's when I started, and I became kind of fan of free software back then.
Uh-huh.
And then later on, I when with the rise of Apple, the Steve Jobs or Apple, right? Of like small teams, talent, and taste, and also privacy. And Steve Jobs was against DRM and all these things. So at the beginning, right, when Apple was underdog, right?
Yeah,
So
when
I
it was
kind
a counterculture.
counterculture. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah.
So I basically drank the Kool-Aid, and I figured it's a Unix system, so I kind of hopped over and became a fan. Uh, well, and then it was a romance, but then it enshittified as Steve Jobs died. iOS 7 came out, and it all went to hell. So basically, they started pushing services and DRM and subscriptions, and ethics went kind of second.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah.
then I figured, okay, this is not me. This is definitely not me. So I switched back to my standard tooling, which was Veeam and stuff like that. Well, and then as I was kind of fiddling and figuring everything out and kind of coming back,
Mm-hmm.
well, I found your video about GNUs, was it, or about Bongo or something like that, like really old video, right? And there was like this terrorist, with a big beard. I was like, what is
I
this?
probably still am on the terrorist lists for that.
Yeah, but it was wonderful, and you said something in those videos. And by the way, this is also me saying thank you, because uh, really, those videos that when I found them, I gave Emacs a chance. I gave, I tried Emacs before, but I looked at, and it's like Tetris and these, and it's just like all weird, weird menus and weird dialogues and everything. So, I always kind of ran back to Vim. But you explained it, at a like philosophical level. But also you said one thing in that video. You said, um, basically, when you are building like this, when you have like a terminal and a PDF viewer and text editor and music player and all that, and you want to kind of harmonize them, the same keyboard shortcut, the same configuration language, the same theme, the same fonts, you know what I mean. And you said in that video that basically you are building Emacs if you are doing that. And I was like, well, I'm doing that, right? So I should give it a shot.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I gave it a shot, and wow, I mean, I have love-hate relationship with Emacs, I have to say, right?
Hmm.
Because when you become like a heavy user of some piece of software, like really heavy user, right? Like you use it for lots of things. I use Emacs for everything: chat, email, password management, terminals, debuggers, programming,
Hmm.
AI, databases,
Wow.
world clock, contacts, nodes, file management, source control, and so on and on and on it goes, right? Like, and when you start like heavily using something like 10 years, 10 hours a day, suddenly you start seeing all the limitations, the bugs, the problems, right?
Of course,
You
of
know,
course, of course.
yeah.
But on the other hand, you are also pushing it to its full potential. So basically, what you are seeing is, well, how can we go beyond that? The terminus we now have.
Yeah, well, you start kind of, at least me, I basically Emacs, and your videos and this world of Emacs basically made me into a contributor to free software. Like up until that, I had like a occasional patch to like, I send some page here and there, right? Some Vim plugin or some little thing, right? But when you have this giant software, right, like let's say Firefox or something, like,
Haha.
you are not going to fix a button, no
No,
way. I
no,
mean, nah,
no, no.
nah,
Uh,
just no.
and
Yeah.
the thing with Emacs is, unlike Firefox, for example, is that with Emacs, like almost by accident, you can get to the source code of whatever function or variable you are checking. So even by accident, you will be like, ah, so this is how it is done. And maybe, this is the bug. Let me fix it very quickly. Whereas, of course, with Firefox, you have to go looking for the source code and good luck finding it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then compiling for 2 hours C++ and stuff. I mean, yes. So basically, I started kind of fixing things here and there. you
Mm.
know, um, a little bit in org mode, little bit there, little bit there, and then Ihor asked me if I could take over maintenance, or if I can become a maintainer of tech info export.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
Sorry, sorry. Let me add some context here because somebody may not be understanding. So we are talking about org mode exporting to tech info.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So basically, the problem with org mode is that, okay, so org mode is a giant topic, of course, right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and it's also a giant source of bugs, right? It's extremely buggy, it's extremely slow, but it's one of its kind. It's kind of like Emacs, like you love it because there is nothing like it, and you hate it because it's like, why? Like, for instance, right before this call, right, of course the link to this stream and everything is in org mode, is all scheduled, right? But my Emacs was frozen for more than an hour. I couldn't even track my exercise because that's
Oh,
also done, of course, there. And the reason is that I wanted to do something to all my blocks, source blocks in my node file, right?
okay,
Now, this was yesterday in the evening. Okay, so I figured, you know what? Let me record a keyboard macro,
okay.
and then I would just repeat it for every block. Da 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 da. Right?
Sounds good. Yes.
Sounds good so far, so good, right? Now you record the macro, you run it, and Emacs is taking one full CPU, right? One full core, 100%, and it's not ending. So, okay, you force quit, by the way, this is doubly so because NS port, like the Mac OS port of Emacs is in a pretty bad shape, actually, very bad shape. So Control G doesn't work very often, and so you need to like force
Ouch.
quit. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Ooh.
So and it's leaking like gigabytes of memory, and it's just bad. It's just
Okay,
bad.
that's a disaster waiting to happen, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, well, many people use like these other forks, like
Emacs
from the
Plus or
yeah, yeah.
Mitsuharu, whatever. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
Japanese professor, and so basically, so okay, so back to the story. So I ran it, right. Well, and I discovered that when you go org next block, the function or next block, it actually doesn't ring the bell when it reaches the end.
Of course, of course.
Oh, of course. So what do you do right before sleep at night? You are going to patch it, right? So you start patching, then you are, oh, I need also unit tests, so let me test it, right? But let's ring only in interactive mode, so let's write another test, you know. So when this happens, or for instance, another example. So because this is I have basically patch almost done, so I'm going to contribute it basically in the coming days, maybe even today. But
Love
another
it.
example is this: like you tangle source code from your org file, right? So
Okay, okay.
so tangle, for those who don't know, it's basically a concept by Donald Knuth in his original literate programming software. And basically it takes source blocks from file and exports them into files, right? Now, so you can set in org mode like this custom comments, that are in the tangled files,
Okay.
right? So that lead kind of back to the org file.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And there is a variable where you can customize them because they are super ugly by default, right? So you customize them, but then when you customize them, you discover that detangle, which is like the opposite of tangling, detangle ignores those variables. So if you customize those, suddenly detangle doesn't work. So these kind of bugs and so you love it, you hate it, the more you use it, all this, and you start patching it, you start contributing, and off you go, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a trap.
Yeah.
I think the only cure for that is to have solar panels, so you won't be patching it at night. No, but seriously, yeah, I mean, that's how it is. Like, you push it to its full potential, you realize that not many people are using it this way, and then you are like on your own, needing to expand that feature set.
Yeah, well, in software engineering, there is this rule: like you never want to be the heaviest user of nothing,
Hmm.
because you always reach the limits, right? You will be
Yeah.
the one who will be suffering,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
I feel
Yes.
like sometimes I am pushing it, and I use org mode like I kind of went. I started with org roam,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? I also tried your denote package, but then I realized that I really love one file. There
Hmm.
is something very magical, and also how org mode is done.
Hmm.
It kind of loses parts of its magic when it's not one file,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
because you just hit like meta return and you have a new heading, and that's your new node, right? If you have set up export that it's like a separate website, it's gonna be, but it's just like there is like if you want to rename it, well, you just change the title. Like there is no relinking, no going to DRED, no updating, nothing. It's just so fast to capture anything.
Hmm.
With one of it has like this magical feeling when you have like one outline and everything is just. And by the way, that's why I use Tech Info,
Hmm.
because org mode currently cannot export one file into multiple either HTML or any other like documents, right? There was a ongoing thread and
What
patch.
do you mean? What do you mean? So one file cannot be exported to HTML? I'm not sure I follow you there.
To multiple HTML files.
Ah, okay, 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 okay. So you cannot have like a web page out of one file, you mean, by default? Like a
Yeah, well,
website,
technically website, right? You can
website,
have web
website.
page,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
not
yeah.
website. Yeah.
Ah, okay. Okay, okay. Maybe you can do it with some tricks where it's like each heading is its own web page and whatnot.
Well,
But
you
yeah.
can. I had this kind of hacks where I would just go next heading, export, limit the scope to heading, export that, and so on. But that wasn't really using like the standard thing. And so currently I use Tech Info for that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the beautiful thing is that even if you do it like that, like I was even thinking about solving it by writing a function that just takes an org file,
Okay.
right, and splits an org file into org files by top level heading,
Uh-huh.
right?
Interesting. Yeah, yeah,
Now you
yeah.
can apply that recursively again, right, to split it even further,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if it uses like the file name and that is the prefix, and then it suffixes like the new thing, and again. So if you call it recursively, you could export your outline into like arbitrary depth, into stuff. So I was thinking about actually implementing this. Of course, there is a problem with like footnotes. They can be elsewhere. When you cut and
Yeah,
little things
yeah.
like that.
I'm
Yeah.
sure there will be lots of edge cases.
oh, oh yeah, exactly. So yeah, so basically, and also there is this so this is one thing that was discussed on org mailing list. There was this person who
Mm-hmm.
works with Common Lisp, and he actually started working on this with Ihor, but they couldn't kind of figure out nice APIs for that. So it kind of stalled. But I asked Ihor on org meetup, like what's up with that, and he said that basically he's still thinking about that API. That is really hard design problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of on hold there because he's now busy with work and stuff.
Yep.
And then there is another amazing effort going on now, ongoing effort, and that is the new org LaTeX preview. You see?
That sounds promising. Yeah, I know people who will try to do that where basically whenever you save the file, it exports and it exports to PDF and then you visit the PDF file and that kind of thing automatically.
Oh, wait a
So.
minute. So I'm talking about the LaTeX fragments inside of it.
Okay. Like the equations and stuff. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So the equations currently, right, are quite slow, but the export is basically problematic because, and the problem is this,
Mm-hmm.
is that you have two options. You can either use MathJax, which is JavaScript library. So
Okay.
therefore, your HTML file will require JavaScript for basically not the good reason, right? Because it's just basically generating SVGs, right? You
Yep.
know, so why do it on the client side, the computation, if you can do it once, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it
so you
doesn't
have
make
a
sense.
static file and you're done. Yeah.
Exactly. Now you can do it also with like a statically, and the org mode will use LaTeX proper
Hmm.
and create little SVG files, right? But the problem with that is that let's say so there are two kinds of LaTeX things in org mode, right? You can have like an environment, like say equation, right?
Okay.
So you can begin equation, end equation. And then you can have also like inside of text, you can say like let x be, this and that, right? And it's very often used, in prose, right? Like you reference the variables, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So now when you reference a variable like that, that little SVG, that little x that is inside of the sentence, right?
Okay.
That one doesn't have the baseline of the font aligned correctly with the rest of the text. So it's kind of like it looks all over the place. So you say like, well, I have to use MathJax, right? So and this new LaTeX preview by Karting, right? And Techosaur, they are like very good programmers, as very well known, as you know.
Yep.
And so he's also the author of GPTEL, right?
So Karthik Chikmagalur is the name. Yeah.
There you go. You
Yeah.
are very good with people. Yeah. And
And Tekosor, the other one. I think
yeah.
Tekosor, his name is Timothy. I don't
Yes.
know the
Yes.
surname. Yeah, but yeah.
Yes. Yes. He did also like He also worked, I think, on the citations, or he documented them only,
I think
something
there
like
was
that.
some major contribution as well. Yeah.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
citations are fantastic together with CTAR. That's another thing I use Emacs for, reference management. So really for like so many things. But
So
yeah,
back to the inline SVG, which is
yeah,
off
yeah,
center,
yeah.
and that would drive me mad.
Yeah, well, that's just no go if like, I mean, seriously, right? Donald Knuth would be like rotating in his grave if he was dead. Now, so this new preview, LaTeX preview, fixes not only baselines, but it also fixes the previews are super fast. They
Hmm.
respect the theme. They have, it's just absolutely breathtakingly amazing. The errors are like, so you can draw, for instance, a text picture. Let's say you are drawing a molecule or something, right? Neural network or something. So you can see live the errors, the preview, everything so fast. Like you can have thousands of fragments, and it
Okay.
just goes like boom, and it's done, right? And
That's
then when you
magic.
export, it just reuses them. It's just beautiful, amazing work. But they don't have time to kind of finish it up because Tecosor is like busy with other stuff now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So basically that's waiting. So for now, I figured, you know what? Okay, I need some good solution now. So I will use Tech Info, which And by the way, once this org preview works,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
So hopefully soon. Yeah.
yeah, well, the deadline was like 2 years ago, then a year ago. So, you know,
Yeah.
we will see. I was literally counting days till Christmas because they said Christmas, and I was just looking forward. It was like this will be my biggest gift, right? And it
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, yeah.
happen.
It's good things come to those who wait and that sort of thing.
Yeah, but you know what's cool? That once this preview works, right, then org mode will become uh, very special. If you look at the landscape of note-taking apps, and you have Obsidian and all these TiddlyWiki, Obsidian, this and that, Logseek, none of them can do that. None of them. The only
Ah,
place where you can see this beautiful, like correctly aligned mathematics without JavaScript is Wikipedia. Wikipedia does it server side, right? And
okay.
then if you look at the source code of Wikipedia article, you will see that they have baseline adjustment for each fragment calculated, and it's fast. It has no JavaScript requirement, and it's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. And this is what org mode will get, and no other note-taking app I know of actually will have this. So it
That's
will
huge.
really elevate for any like deeply technical thinker who needs also formal languages, not just philosophical rambling.
Yeah, yeah,
Pun intended. No,
yeah.
just kidding, just kidding.
No, no, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
Of course, I mean, if you want to do anything, you don't come asking me. Like, imagine you want to build a bridge, you don't come asking me, "Hey, Prot, how do we build a bridge?" I will be like, "Yeah, just make it stable and good luck." Like, you need to be more precise.
yeah. And so basically, I basically I figured, you know what, let me use Tech Info because org mode cannot generate the whole website currently from one file.
Mhm.
And also it cannot do this beautiful mathematics yet without MathJax. Now MathJax is used also by TechInfo. TechInfo,
Okay.
by the way, also can render using LaTeX, and it also has incorrect baselines. So it's
Okay,
yeah.
so Tech Info basically has figured these problems out.
Mm-mm. No, no, no.
But
It also
Tech Info has to compile, of course. Yeah, it has to.
no, no, no. Like I said, sorry, I'm unclear, being unclear.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
yes.
so TechInfo uses MathJax by default, just like org, right?
Ah, okay,
And
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, got you.
and you can ask TechInfo also to use a LaTeX proper, but then the baseline adjustments are wrong, just like in LaTeX, just like in org mode. Exactly the same problem, except nobody's fixing it there, right?
Hmm.
So org mode will be at the level of Wikipedia. It will be one heck of an amazing thing. And I was actually
Okay.
test driving it, the patch, with actually Kartik on the phone on like in org meetup, and I was just flabbergasted how amazing it is. The work this guy did is out of this world. Amazing work. It's so fast. It's so precise. It's so beautifully done. It's amazing, amazing. And by the way,
Okay.
can I
Maybe
say something?
just to say that we should also link to this patch if you have it readily available, the link somewhere, because maybe somebody watching this can take a look as well, and maybe they can help or whatnot, or
Yes,
the
yeah, yeah,
discussion or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And by the way, speaking of amazing work, also, and speaking of your early videos and stuff,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
I would like to thank you for all your you see you are a very special person. I was thinking about you many times actually, right? That you are a very rare mix of friendly and professional, but on both counts you are like over the top. So you are extremely friendly person, very much like listening, friendly guy, but you also are like professional, hardcore professional, right?
Hmm.
You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
in you know, it kind of meets, and then beautiful things happen, like your beautiful modus themes, right? That
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
use. Fantastic work, man. So you already got your recognition from Free Software Foundation, right?
Yes, yes, indeed. Yeah, so thank you for that.
It's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. Like for me, and this is part of what I learned, of course, growing up. Like uh, being friendly and being professional are not competing with each other, because professional starts from yourself. Like you first have to show the example. Like you are disciplined yourself, and then you expect others to also follow along. Like I don't like this idea of being bossy, but me not following what I say, because then that makes you unprofessional and then you're also unfriendly, kind of thing.
Yes,
So
yes.
it is like that. And for me it was like, well, of course, if you are disciplined, then that extends to also showing respect for others, and then of course that comes off as friendliness. But just to say also, it's also a little bit a combination of the fact that I am Greek, which is generally a loud culture, even though I'm an introvert. So there is that, and also that I worked in the tourism sector for many years, so mostly as a bartender. So of course I get to talk to a lot of people and always be talking about random issues.
You worked as a bartender.
Oh, for many years, yeah,
Oh,
maybe 5 years.
wow, wow. So you are
Yeah,
mixing drinks at the hut.
yeah, yeah. I mean, intoxicating everybody. Like me, I don't drink alcohol. I quit since many years ago.
Oh,
Um,
me too, me
yeah,
too.
yeah. So I think it's better, but I'm not against it. Like if somebody has a drink, I'm not against it. But yeah, having things under control is better.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And it's just like, you know, if it if there is even a potential for damage of cognition and cognitive skills and brain and stuff, it's not worth it, I think, right?
Hmm.
By the way, I wanted to ask, speaking of bartending and you and stuff,
Yeah.
what do you actually eat at the hut?
So I mostly eat legumes and vegetables. And occasionally, like rarely, there will be some other food that I can have, some like fish or whatever, but that's rare. So usually it's that. I want to upgrade, of course. So I want to have more kitchen appliances and stuff, and have all the means to do more fancy dishes. Of course, having said that, I'm still a minimalist in terms of lifestyle. Like one of my rules is that if a food requires too much processing, it's bad for you twofold. First, it's probably bad because you are processing it too much, meaning that it will be unhealthy anyway. And two, it's too bad because you spend too much time in the kitchen, time that you could use to patch Emacs, for example.
Interesting, interesting.
So keep the food simple and focus on Emacs, kind of thing.
I actually, honestly, to be honest with you, I never quite understood, you know, the argument that a processed food is necessarily worse.
No,
You know,
yeah, just to say, I didn't mean processed food. I mean like when you go through many rounds of it. And let me give one example. I was in Germany at some point, and they were like, okay, we will prepare our special dish. And they take some potato. and they mix it with flour. And I'm like, okay, looks good. They put it in boiling water. They let it boil. And I'm like, okay, we will eat that now. And it's like they take it out, they put it on the frying pan, and now they fry it. And I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening? So we will eat it now. And then they take it from there, and then they put it in some sauce or whatever. And they let it there for a while, and then you eat it. And I'm like, yeah, we could have just eaten it, the first time around. It's that
I
sort of thing I
see.
have in mind, where it's like once you go through many steps, chances are that you are adding more things that you don't really need. That's what I have in mind.
I see. I understand. Okay, now that makes sense. Like when you have something like perfectly cooked and then you start frying it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's a good argument.
So, like,
Yes.
imagine for me, like the kind of ideal, let's say, is like you slice your tomatoes and cucumbers and all that. You mix them a little bit with olive oil, and yeah, bon appetit.
Oh, okay.
In that
Okay.
sense, it's like the no further steps involved kind of thing.
Well, olive oil is gold, right? Olive oil makes everything so tasty.
Yeah, of course, of
Yeah, I
course.
love olive oil. Yeah, I bake pizzas almost every day,
Ah,
which
good, good, good.
is
Yeah,
that too processed, right?
a man of culture.
Yeah. Well, but a simple pizza without cheese, just flour, water, some tomatoes, and maybe some corn or olive on the top, olive oil. That's it. Very
Oh,
simple.
wait, wait, wait. So
You know.
you put olive oil on the top above the tomato, or you put the dough, then olive, and then olive oil, and then the tomato?
Okay, so well, I have been experimenting with this for many years. I have extensive notes, as you can imagine. So yeah, I'm basically doing local search with pizza. So imagine the space of all pizzas,
Okay.
like like mathematically, right?
Mhm.
So I am somewhere in that space, and I am doing always like a local step. Like let's try to change this one thing. Let's try this, and you are supposed to find basically local maximum, right? So basically I tried olive oil on the dough, then with the pomodoros, with tomatoes, then after baking, before baking, together, all the combinations, and
Mhm.
and one thing that I found is that if you take your pomodoros,
Mhm.
right, and mix them with olive oil, stir it, and,
Mhm.
and be generous with olive oil. Be generous, right? Like I'm talking like a lot of olive oil.
Oh.
Stir it and then pour it over pizza, right? It's fantastic. It's really
Ah.
upgrades it up, right? It's mwah, yeah.
Sounds right. Sounds right. Yes.
Oh yeah, these
What
are
about
great stuff.
what about the dough? Because of course now you are a tinkerer, so I have to ask: is it sourdough? Is it just flour and water without any kind of starter? What are we talking about here?
Well, flour, water, yeah, right, and yeast. That's all you
So
need.
dry yeast.
Yeast. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
tried.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't observe any kind of difference in taste when I change the yeast. It's kind of the same, but what changes the taste, whether how you knead it, how you like how long you let it rise,
Oh,
all
yeah,
those little details, right? But keep it simple. I think good pizza is simple pizza, right?
yeah. Yep.
So my pizza is, like I said, without cheese,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's really simple, it's really healthier and simpler. And when you are, oh, and very important
Oh,
is
what?
how
Yeah.
you.
Sorry, sorry. 1 second. There was a new camera detected. Yeah, I think we are good. 1 second. Let me check OBS. 1 second. Yeah, it's still
Yeah,
recording.
sure,
So,
sure.
so I'm not sure what. By the way, it's super hot. So I noticed that it's like I have been running. Like my heart is running from that pizza story. I mean,
Yeah, you are
yeah,
uh, you are you are
it,
you are breaking a sweat here
it's
in this
it's
discussion.
extra hot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's really hot today. Yeah, but please, please, please continue. So,
Well, I just
yeah.
one last thing.
So
Let's
you
let's
say
return.
so you
Yeah,
say simple pizza is a good pizza.
yeah. Pizza must be simple, and also it's quite important, how you stretch the dough, right?
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
if you look at some people, they just take a rolling pin and just roll it, and then it has no edges, and it's kind of like this
Hmm.
biscuit, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah. No,
yeah, that's no good, no good. Yeah.
no, no, no.
So
You have to use your hands, and you have to be delicate.
Yeah. Well, the most important thing when you are using your hands is to never push on the edge. Like
Mm-hmm.
never,
Mm-hmm.
never. And then when
So
you
so
bake it,
basically
the
from the
edges.
center to the edge so that it's not too thin on the inside. What's the idea?
Yeah. So well, there are various ways how you can take it on your hands. Knead it like that, or you can just push it, or you can just kind of do that, or flap it. Anything you do, just don't push anyway the edge around, because
Uh-huh.
that edge will nicely rise in the like when baking, and it will be fantastic. If you never touch it, the less you touch it, the better it is, the edge.
Yes,
Like
yes, yes,
it's
correct.
yeah, it's amazing.
Correct. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Me, I have also done this. I have also baked like sourdough, like independent of pizza. Like, so yeah, I'm all into that kind of tinkering.
yeah. I really think also this good cooking slash baking, right, is not is really both science and art, right? Because
For sure, yes. Yeah,
yeah. So it's better like to pay attention, write things down, what worked, what didn't, iterate, little
yeah,
things
yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. And I think food in general, it's science, art, as you say, and culture on top. Like this is something I didn't understand in the past. Like, oh, culture is just paintings and statues and music and whatnot, right? I didn't understand why cooking and food is part of that. And then when I started traveling and meeting people and stuff, I was like, yeah, of course. Food is huge. It's a big part of our life and of our socialization. And I'm like, yeah, that goes there as well into culture.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Just like if you have a family, right? If the family meets at the table, culture comes. It all like supports it. Yeah. Definitely
Yeah,
agree
yeah,
with
yeah,
them.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it's a source of jokes. Like, I don't know how it is in your part of the world, but for example, here in the Mediterranean, like Greece and Turkey, for example, we are really opinionated about the origin, like who discovered the dish. So,
Uh-huh.
for example, like everybody knows about Turkish coffee, for example, right? Where in Greece, there's no Turkish coffee, there is Greek coffee.
Oh.
Like,
Oh.
so in Turkey they have this a dessert called baklava. It's a delicacy, very very tasty, very nice. Of course, baklava is Greek. We invented it. So it's really funny when you tease your neighbors and you're like, yeah, of course, come to Greece. I will prepare for you very nice coffee and our beautiful baklava. We came up with the recipe.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if you have. I imagine you have that as well in Central Europe.
Baklava.
No, not
Yeah.
baklava in
Baklava.
particular, but I mean, like who discovered goulash or who discovered whatever recipes there. I mean,
I see. Well, yeah, I am. I'm not much of a. Yeah, I'm not much of a fan of kind of this like uh, focusing too much on nations like we and you and
yeah, I
you know.
know. Me neither,
Yeah,
but I mean, yeah, people do.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So back to technical topics.
Yes, yes. Let's go back to because I want to ask you. So you were telling me about org and how you use org, so I got an idea there, and I still have something to ask you about that. But first, tell me about mobile development. So, is it? Do you use Emacs for that, or do you have like a special IDE or something?
Well, of course, Emacs, right?
And what
Emacs.
goes into that? Like, how does that look like? So, do you have LSP? Do you have a terminal? Do you have compilers set up and everything? Like, how does that look like? AI or whatever?
Yeah. So okay. So I basically I'm trying to hack around things. So okay, let me tell you how it is in the mobile world, right? So on Android you write Java or now Kotlin,
Okay.
right? On Apple you write Objective C or now Swift. The APIs are gigantic because they kind of reflect the big companies. Everybody wants to have something there,
Mm.
right? So especially now, and everything is kind of syrupy, slow, unreliable, basically terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so that's why it's paid so well, I guess. Also because like no sane person want to use Xcode, right? I mean, you need to be crazy. right? Or you maybe don't know better, right? But if so anyway, so I was thinking about this. So when I joined this little company where I work, it's a very small shop, basically just couple people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Very small game studio, and I have a boss, and my boss is a fantastic person. He's my friend, and he's also my kind of role model. He's an old geek, and he's very fair person, very good person. He always says family first, school second, and then work, right? He
Ah,
always
okay.
he always is ready to help anyway, with anything. It's beautiful. We almost met physically, but I told him, like, don't go to Slovakia. There is nothing here to be, nothing to see really,
Mhm.
because he was here in Europe. I
Uh-huh.
said, like, oh, pick a better country to see. So, but it also kind of keeps it kind of mysterious when you have a deep relationship with somebody, but over the wire. Like
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
always meet in the wire like hackers, right? Never like met each other, and we saw each other like just couple times. We don't use camera because why, right? We are two hackers. We are two intelligent people. We understand each other. We don't need to see, whatever, right? So anyway, and with this kind of boss, you have no bullshit. So you have
Mm-hmm.
no agile, no stand-ups, or I don't know what's modern now, right? All
Uh-huh.
these things. In fact, I have never experienced all this nonsense in software development that people have these horror stories, right? In fact, I am lucky. I'm super lucky because this guy is just normal. I keep everything in org mode. We just talk. Everything is a text file. It's just keep it simple,
Sounds
right?
amazing.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. Now, and with this kind of boss, you can do. And now, why am I saying everything? Why am I explaining all this to you?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is this: when you have this kind of boss, you can try alternative approaches. So we knew that we
Mm.
want to have our games not tied to any particular platform, because this platform, they keep changing, they are unstable, they are syrupy, they are slow, they are buggy. It's just terrible, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I came up with to my boss. um, well, the first experiment was, let's write the everything but the UI separately.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So that was the first thing we tried. Now that worked beautifully. And so then I came with an idea. How about we use Scheme to write our everything all logic basically. Let's use the native UI, but let's make it dumb, kind of like a dumb UI terminal, kind of like but it can do not just but
Uh-huh.
terminal in the original sense.
Yeah.
And then let's do the brain in Scheme.
Mm.
So for those who don't know, Scheme is basically one of the two major Lisp branches. One is Common Lisp, the other one is Scheme, historically, right? And so we tried it. We tried Scheme.
Okay.
We tried Scheme. I found this little tiny Scheme interpreter written in C called S7,
Okay.
and then also I so we use S7, but we also so here is the thing: Scheme is not a language like Swift. So Scheme
No, no,
is
they are
actually,
completely different. Yeah, of course. I mean,
well, but in a sense where Scheme is actually a PDF. Scheme is just a spec. It's
mm,
not like
mm,
Swift, right? So
mm-hmm.
Scheme is like, so there are these standards called the latest standard is called R7RS, which is the seventh revision of the Scheme language,
Okay,
and
okay.
it's a like 50-page PDF that documents the entire language, the entire standard library, and everything in complete detail. So once you read
Oh.
that, there is nothing more to know. It's a tiny, beautiful, very elegant language,
Ah.
extremely elegant language.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very picky about programming languages, but Scheme is up there together with, say, well, some other languages. Anyway, and then I added GNU Guile into the mix, because
Okay.
GNU Guile, because you see S7 is this tiny interpreter which is written in C, so you can basically compile it on mobile,
Okay.
and it can run like this little C thing, right? So we would have this S7 and SQLite for data. And these two are both self-contained C programs, high quality,
Okay,
right?
good, good. So far, so good. Yeah, I'm curious to
And
see
then,
the whole package. Yeah.
yeah, and then I would develop on the desktop using GNU Guile. And you see, every scheme is little different, but R7RS is supposed to be the common set of features that
Okay,
everybody
okay.
should implement. So I said, you know what? Let's not use anything special that GNU Guile has, right? Let's just stick with pure R7RS, pure scheme, and then it will run in S7, in Guile, and in other schemes, right?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah.
So we started doing that. We shipped it on both iOS and Android to many tens of thousands of people, who use it, and it worked. It worked beautifully. I could be in Emacs using GNU Guile, and riding the brain with unit tests and everything. I wrote a little unit testing framework. I wrote bindings for SQLite for both Guile and S7 in
Mm-hmm.
C to
Mm-hmm.
kind of bridge it, right? So I kind of set up like a nice little thing. It was one make file. Everything would just build, everything would test, and it would just deploy, and then, when the app was to be released, then Mike would go into Xcode and press the whatever is now release button, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. But why specifically Scheme? So, of course, you want to avoid all that API mess. But why would Scheme be a good candidate for that?
Well, Scheme, because Scheme is small, and basically what you want is the question is, how easy it is to embed. So I so
Mm-hmm.
we had a couple things. I also looked at Common Lisp. Common Lisp has these couple couple common lisps that are actually embeddable, like and the embeddable common lisp, ECL, right? But that one was it depended on GMP, like the big numeric library and this and that, and it was like a really big thing to compile, link, and everything. And you see, our games run on 32 and 64-bit systems. They run on, you know, older ARM, newer ARM architectures, this and that. So, the simpler the better, really,
Yes,
right?
yes. I mean, of course, yeah.
So Scheme was like, okay, it's small, it's elegant. You can learn it basically in an afternoon, and you can
Ooh.
embed it easily. So
Wow.
we did that. But then, this is not the end of the story. There is one more thing, right? And by the way, I also evaluated Clojure script, because
Okay.
Clojure script is Clojure that because every mobile platform has JavaScript virtual machine built in,
Okay.
right?
Good. Good. Yes.
So I thought, well, maybe we could compile to JavaScript, run it in there. These are like heavily optimized, virtual machines. So, but then the problem was that I wanted to communicate with SQLite, right?
Uh-huh.
And
Okay.
so then you would have to hop out to the native, like so serialize into, say, whatever,
Mm.
JSON or some kind of string or whatever, hop into the native, then repackage it, call SQLite back, repackage it, and call JavaScript. So that would be too slow if you are doing maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
if
At
you are scrolling.
scale, yeah, of course. At scale, yeah, that's not.
Yeah, well, the problem with mobile is that you see, mobile, when you have a list on mobile and you start scrolling it, right? So the new screens go at 120 hertz. So they redraw 120 times per second. The older ones at 60, right? So as you are scrolling, some time is eaten by the native framework, some by the render server. And then, so basically you end up with like this time window of, I don't know, let's say, 20 milliseconds at best.
Oh.
And in that time you need to do everything, otherwise it will be choppy. The scrolling will
Mm-hmm.
be, because you can swoosh and it goes like real fast. So you have the quite tight tolerances.
Wow.
So this kind of hopping out, hopping in, hopping out, hopping in, and packaging and JavaScript and stuff. So I thought, you know what, this sounds like too risky, especially some people have older devices. like 5 years old or whatever. So basically, I figured, you know what? Let's do some small C thing. Let's go C to C, something that can talk to C ABIs that can talk to SQLite directly,
Mm-hmm.
and let's make it like that. And let's find something self-contained, right? So we were using Scheme to push the story. It's just very short then. So Common Lisp was too big.
Too big.
Closure Script was potentially too slow, and so we went with Scheme. So that was the story behind Scheme, specifically Scheme.
Fascinating. But this is like a good use case, like a good, let's say, selling pitch for Scheme in this specific kind of situation, where
Yes,
you want to embed it, you want it to be small, you have all these constraints, and so you want it to be performant.
yeah. And by the way, Scheme is small, but it's truly expressive. It's amazing, right? It's not like some kind of, you know, it's really beautiful language. I really enjoyed Scheme when we were doing Scheme. Well, I'm not doing Scheme anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
why? So we hopped once more,
Mm-hmm.
and then changed one thing architecturally. So those two things. So let me tell you. So first thing is that we started, of course, bumping into bugs. So this S7 interpreter is maintained by one person. So then we tried Chibi Scheme, and
Okay, okay, yeah.
which is like R7, which specializes in R7 RS compliance, right? Chibi. Now and stuff like that. But then the problem is that you see in the common Lisp world, everybody takes the spec very seriously. Like it's common Lisp, right? It's like that's the compatibility is like the holy grail, right?
Uh-huh,
You
uh-huh.
know,
Makes sense.
you
Good,
know.
good.
Well, in the Scheme world, people are kind of lax, like what kind of support R7RS, plus minus,
Oh, of course.
and that's a huge problem actually. So everybody and their dog can create their own scheme because it's such a small and tiny and simple and elegant language. But there are very few, interpreters or compilers that actually take it very seriously. It's just not in the DNA of the schemers. Like
Yes,
it's,
yes.
yeah. So and that was, and when you are programming a production thing, then you bump into these like little details where the behavior changes and it actually changes it for the user.
But isn't
So
that something that, because you say it's one person that develops it, maintains it, isn't, given that it's a small language, isn't that something that you could, in principle, help with?
sure,
Yeah,
but you see, I already have too many roles, right?
yeah.
Too many things patching, too many things everywhere, right? So you know what? So I figured, okay, what can we do? And then I thought, well, what is the most popular, the best embeddable programming language in the industry?
And what is it? I don't know.
Well, yeah, that's like I
Yeah,
ask these questions.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So that's Lua.
Oh, okay.
You see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh, so Lua is powers like everything from like the routers to web servers to games to like Lua is like everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
Lua is ubiquitous, right, these days. Now, of course, Lua is not Lisp, right?
yeah.
It's not like Paredit, no, right?
Yeah,
So that's not gonna fly, right? If you have a good boss and you can experiment, you are like. But then I found this small Lisp called Fennel.
yes, which compiles
Yes,
down to Lua, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Now there is one special thing about Fennel that I would like to say. Like this is like a little bit kind of theoretical, but it is also very practical, and that is that Fennel has one design constraint, right? That is like special,
yeah.
that you don't see, and
Ah.
like that doesn't need to be there, but they chose to constrain themselves that way. And the constraint is this: that um, that it compiles to Lua with no runtime. That means there is no
Mm.
library. It literally is just like this is Fennel becomes Lua. There is no new function. Everything. So therefore, everything is a special form or macro.
Yes, yes, yes. It's like Fennel never existed.
Exactly. At
Yeah.
runtime, Fennel doesn't exist. you put it like beautifully. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So Fennel. So Fennel is also a small language. It's not very big or anything. Although it has this idea that it's not small like the number of forms is small,
Okay.
right? But you have like say 6 forms that are all have like the same kind of shape and semantics and everything. So once you get one, you get the whole family.
Okay, okay, good.
It's
Of
that
course,
kind of simplicity.
sounds like a Lisp.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
beautiful. It even is better than other Lisp. So for instance, it can do gensim very well and stuff like that. So armed with that, I ported all scheme into Fennel,
Okay, okay.
which was actually with Emacs, it wasn't that hard, right? You have a good sharp like Swiss Army knife, perfect,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
right? So we did that, and and yeah, and it works beautifully. You see, Lua is truly excellent for embedding the APIs and the standard library. And one thing that is amazing about Lua that needs to be experienced, really, because you get it like intellectually, but when you program with it, it's similar to Lisp. Like, oh yeah, everything is homoiconic, sure. But once you use it, you are like, whoa, this is great.
There's
This is
no going back.
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean.
There is no going back, right? Just give me my parentheses. Now, Lua has this amazing thing about it that is also like that. The more you use it, the more you appreciate it, and that is that it has one data structure only.
Ah.
So, and that, my friend, is great, because when you say that I give you, say for instance, you are doing like points, XY points. So say I give you a point, it's gonna be that data structure. Say I give you a collection of points, it's gonna be that one data structure. I don't need to say it's it's this or that.
So,
It's
for
just
example, it's all a list. I don't know what would be the data structure, but it's always a list. There is nothing else.
yes. And the data structure is called table,
Haha, okay.
right? And it's very smart, and it's this. So basically, it's computer science speaking is associative array. So kind
Okay.
of like a dictionary as an abstract data type, and the concrete data type underneath the implementation is actually there are two data structures hiding behind it, right? So basically, if you have numeric, because you see array can be also seen as a dictionary with numeric keys that are all basically one sequence, right? So there are no
Okay.
holes, right? You know what I mean?
Yes,
So
yes.
if you squint, it's kind of everything could be modeled like a dictionary, right? And if you have under the hood the optimization that if you have this sequence of numeric of integral keys, then it will automatically becomes an array for you, so that it's super fast. Because array has big O of 1, like the access time, and a hash table has also O of 1 but amortized, like it's not. So basically both
So,
of
so
them are.
basically, a hash table is good when it's really big, but otherwise the overhead is constant, if I
well the,
understand correctly.
the overhead, like asymptotically speaking, is constant, right? Asymptotically is kind of constant, but amortized, because hash takes like it's basically a function that takes like a big domain, right, and has a smaller codomain. So therefore there will be some clashes, right? Some
Okay, okay.
clashes. And in that case, the hash table will, the hash table will use an array, right? That's the bucket, and that's there it builds a linked list, because you might do like 3 more hops if there were like 3 conflicts. So it's gonna amortize that, it might be like a couple more hops, right, when you are
Uh-huh.
looking up, right? But a big picture, like asymptotically, right? It's O of n. Sorry, O of 1, right? So it's a constant time access, and the same as array. So basically, they hide these two like constant access data structures. Smart, all call it a table, and then every time you use plural, like I give you pencils, it will be a table of pencils. So it's beautiful. It's truly amazing to have one data structure and a small small library. So
Yeah, I need to look that up. I'm curious what that entails. Of course, it sounds powerful, but it's the what you said. You have to experience it.
yes. But it's fantastic. I have
Uh-huh.
been enjoying Lua heavily, and basically, so then the last thing that we did was architecturally, right? I figured, we have this Lisp and everything, but we still need to restart the whole app, and Apple takes like it's just too slow,
So tell me more
right?
about that because I don't know the context. So what does restart the app mean in this context?
So classic, right? You are so deep in Lisp that you are like, what is restarting of an app? Well, in a normal programming, right? Like you change, one line of code and you need to restart the rebuild and rerun and everything, right? So it's terrible, right? So if you are kind of finding the right position for something and stuff, and there are some improvements like Swift UI and stuff, but it's all not really not the real deal. It's not a real thing that the Lisp can do. So I figured, you know what? Let me write this small game engine, right? And let's do live reloading. And it makes us all smile, me, my boss, everybody, every time we use it. Like uh, you literally go to Magit, and you are like, oh, this was a bad idea. Let me discard you. Discard changes in Magit, and in the simulator, poop, and and things go back, and it's just like, wow, this is amazing, right? So I did this, and that really. So if you have a Lisp, you have live reload and all this, and it's also multi-platform, and the whole engine is like 800 lines of code, and the whole engine is like this. It's built like very simple. Like just listen to this. The entire game is just one function. It's modeled as one single function that you implement, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So and that function, in that function, right? You just get the root view, which is a table, right?
Okay.
The event and sender. That's it. So for instance, you get the root view, which is your game, and then you get like the event is touch down, and the sender is some button, right?
Okay. By the way, can you say what kind of game it is? Maybe you can tell which game it is. I'm happy to link to it. But if you cannot tell which game it is, maybe you can describe it in very abstract terms.
Yeah. So these
Yes.
games that I'm working on are puzzle games that are basically for like kind of brain development, right? So
Hmm.
So, logic puzzles, also called Einstein puzzle or zebra puzzle. Now we are working on star battles, then acrostics. In the past we used to have cryptograms. So these kind of games, right?
Hmm.
And they have like a hint engine, that can help you with the next steps and stuff like that, which are kind of sometimes get like really complicated. Like, oh, if this is there and that is there, suppose that this is there, so therefore it means that this is here, right?
Wow.
Stuff like that. So basically mathematical logic, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
but so you implement the whole game as like this one function that
Hmm.
just gets like this is the world, this is what happened in the world, and here is the new world. And so it's
Uh,
basically,
and the loop. Yeah.
yeah, and that's it. And basically the loop is done, it's not like looping,
No,
inefficiently.
it's
It's
basically old world, new data, new world, and so we go to the new world and then we repeat. I
and
mean,
then
yeah,
always happens, yeah, and you
yeah.
basically create a new world and also generate the side effects, because
Uh-huh.
you might want to say, for instance, vibrate the device, and that's really just a side effect, right? It's
Uh-huh.
not, you know so, but the beauty is that this table, this world, is just this table I call view, that has like, I don't know, 13 fields, and that's it. You nest these tables, and your entire game is just these tables nested, like these teeny simple tiny tables that are live reloaded. So it's so simple that you can literally explain it to like elementary school, like fourth grader, like my daughter. You can explain it, the whole framework, in 15 minutes. And so because you say you change X and it just flies there. You change color, it just brew. You know, you change. It's very very simple to do, and that was a breath of fresh air. And it's beautiful. It's 700 lines of code only. It will be open source, right?
Oh,
So
beautiful, beautiful.
of course, yeah.
Because while you're describing all this, of course, it has the nerd cred written all over it. But there is also the fact that this is like, it has didactic value. Like, this is the sort of thing that you would teach somewhere. Like, here is how we can do something really elegant, but it goes really far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I really love if you formal languages. Formal, well, I like formal languages in general, right?
Uh-huh.
But I love formal languages that are small, that are compact and are very
Uh-huh.
expressive and universal, right? So
Mhm.
that's why Scheme is so beautiful, Lisp is so beautiful. Lua also has that vibe. Like, how can we make something that is very, very small? And Lua is like Lua is very small. Actually, you can have like this there's this file called one.c, which is like one file, and the whole Lua is in one file.
Mm.
You can call every standard library function, right, from both C and Lua side.
Haha.
Right. So it's like this tiny coherent system, right, that is like very well thought through, stable, decades, and you can do like a lot. So then it's time for your creativity. Yeah, you are not like trying to learn this like 1,000 page C++ spec, or what kind of this is a smart pointer, that kind of thing. It's a beautiful, it's and then you actually, and you can see, you can see like the game, for instance, just being built in front of your eyes with no restarts, no waiting for Apple, nothing, right? You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean? And
Yes,
by
yes.
the way,
And basically what I'm understanding as well is basically there is no syntax, there is no programming language. It's basically a language to express logic, and it's like here is the game, and for as long as you understand these very simple rules, you understand the game basically,
yeah, exactly. and
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 the
the beauty is,
program more generally. Yeah.
I'm actually now a huge fan of this kind of development where you build your core,
Mhm.
right, using free software and free software only. And when I say free software, I mean software that has all four fundamental freedoms,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
So this is what is worth learning, what is worth investing in, what is worth building on. And then you have this fragile shell of Apple and Google around it that you just swallowed your pride. You just write those 800 lines. It sucks. You write them and you are like, okay, I'm not touching this ever. It's fast, it's everything, in this engine, for instance, like when you change some views in this like a tree of views,
Hmm.
right, it actually does diffing. So I diff, like React, like it just, um, so then in the re-renders only what has changed, right?
Okay, so it's a Delta update. It's not what's it called?
Yeah.
Atomic update, whatever they are called. I don't
Well,
know what
yeah,
to think. Yeah, but basically
yeah,
you don't
delta.
recreate. Yeah, the Delta. You don't recreate the whole thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And also these views that we have in this engine are actually native views. We are not drawing on blank canvas. We are using native views, but not native buttons, not native controls, but native views. That means you get full GPU acceleration, animations and everything. You get accessibility, so everything. But all you use is a rectangle. All I you come to Apple and says, okay, I'm taking rectangles and keep everything else for yourself, right? Because I have better here, because I can implement a button in 2 pages of code, and it's just beautiful. It's live, it's accessible, it's everything.
And there are no downsides to that, like because of course I imagine the counter argument would be like, hey, we are the Apple guys and we wrote this comprehensive API because it covers every edge case out there, whereas your code is like this tiny little thing which works for you, but as soon as you go outside, it doesn't work. Does that apply, or do you get bug reports or whatever telling you that hey, you didn't consider this use case of Apple, whatever?
Well, yeah, sure. You have limitations, right? Basically, it's the beauty of this is that it's completely up to you. What do you plug in from the other side,
Okay, okay.
right? So, for instance, the other day I was like, we had like so in this table, one of the fields is called content, and content, you put there some string, it shows the string. You
Okay.
put there some name of the asset, it shows the asset, the image, right? That's it. That is that simple. Content property, right? And then there was another property that was called centered. True or false, whether this content, this image or text is centered or whether it's left aligned, right? But very often we needed the right alignment, and I was always like pushing it away, like, oh, we can actually hack around it this way, like build, working in constraints. But then I kind of got fed up. It was a couple days ago. I'm like, you know what? Enough of this. I am going to implement right alignment. So I did it. It was 6 lines of code on the
Mm-hmm.
native side. So now instead of centered, we have align, which is string left, right, center, right?
Okay, good,
But
good.
bada boom, bada bam, very simple. So if you need something like that, right? Well, just wire it up. If you want to have, so for instance, I wanted to like vibrate the phone in certain situation. So I said, oh well, let me wire up an effect. On the other side, it was one if statement, 3 lines of code, like, well, if the effect is this and it has a payload. So it's like once you have a good architecture, it's again comes down to like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that composability and stuff. Then you know what, you can plug in anything. So so yeah, so
And you enjoy doing it because what you described now is basically you have a very nice toy as well. I mean, in terms of your editor and the workflow, you also like doing that, from what I understand.
oh yeah, but the thing is that let's be also a little bit talk about the economics of this, right?
Uh-huh.
When I am on a call with my boss, he's called Mike, by the way, we can say Mike. So when I'm on a call with Mike, right? When he sees the speed, in fact, we started actually when we are designing now UI together, because I like to do it with him. We actually do it directly in code.
Oh, beautiful.
Like, why would you do some kind of Figma with AI and whatever kind of nonsense?
No, no, no.
Exactly, right? So so basically right now it's so we just do that. I just hard code X, Y, and whatever I said, like, okay, then later on I will calculate it properly, but this is just enough. And also he can see that it also brings real value, economical value,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not only about like having a toy. Of course it is good to have a toy, it's great to have fetish, I say. Like when you are doing mathematics, it's good to have like a good HB pencil. It's just fetish, it's just great. It makes you, why not, like, why not?
I mean,
So
it
it
keeps you coming back. That's the thing. Like you keep revisiting.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes, but also it has, like, it really is a coin with two sides, right? There is also economical value,
Yes,
and he
yes,
can
yes.
see it that you can ship better thing, you can ship faster, and you can also do like these custom UIs that otherwise would be like a huge pain in the ass, right?
And of course, huge pain also means more people employed, more incompatibilities, more catching up with API changes, blah, blah, blah. In other words, more expensive.
Yes, yeah, precisely, yes. So it's basically more expensive. So there is something, I basically, my pitch was when we were talking about scheme, I said, Mike, do you want 10 times 10x productivity? And he said, tell me. I said, one word, Lisp. And he said, bring it on, show. He said, show me. He
Oh,
said, you have like, I said, okay, I need like a week or two, like to do research and to do some prototyping. He said, Rudy, show me, surprise me, delight me, go for it. You know,
but that's exactly the kind of boss you need, not the bureaucratic type. You want the hacker type.
oh
Who's like,
yes,
oh,
yes.
Lisp, yeah, show me.
Also, like in my previous job, when I now I work like from home, right? Kind of like, but in my previous job when I worked, like in an institution, I actually had a boss, right? And he was also fantastic. And what he did was he shielded you from all bullshit, so that
Good.
you can focus on your stuff with your. So literally everything, he shielded you from everything. So that was also beautiful. It's kind of sad to hear that, when people have like bad boss. I used to have
Yeah.
also a bad boss where basically I used to have a boss where that person just added stress. Basically, that's what he did.
Yes, of course,
Right.
of course. Yeah,
Right.
basically
Yeah.
yes.
But when you have a good guy who is either shielding you or enabling and literally enabling you to do amazing work, man, it's amazing. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Mike, my current boss, is like that, and he's also a good friend, very wise. I have a lot to learn from him. Right. He also supported my return to school, because I returned back to school as an adult to
Mm-hmm.
fill in my gaps for like computer science. And also I wanted to kind of go a little bit outside and like Greek and Roman, ancient cultures,
Mm.
biology, stuff like that. So I went to like a computer science degree where half of it wasn't computer science and
Uh-huh.
half of it
Mm-hmm.
was. And I also really wanted to kind of get to like this mathematical maturity, where you look at the equation and you can actually see the relationships, and you are not like, it's like, it's your language, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
basically, as like late in life, I went back to school. Now with kids, we are doing the together
Yeah.
homework and stuff. And by the way, shoot
But this
out.
is just to say, this is the last thing I also wanted to ask you about, because it was also what you mentioned, like lifelong learning and the fact that you went back to school. So yeah, you brought it up. So yeah, please elaborate. Please tell me more. Like, what does it mean going back to school? What happened before? You didn't finish school, or you didn't do enough? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically, I was basically a hacker through and through, right? Basically, my dad, he would bring me as a little boy to this telephone switch. Telephone
Okay.
switches were kind of, together with the relay computers, kind of the precursor to our era of digital
Where they would
computers.
connect you literally? Is it that?
No,
No. Ah, okay.
no, that's a switchboard. Like this was
Okay.
already electromechanical. So these were like
Okay.
this clickety clackety. So it was a giant room. Imagine a room like big exercise hall,
Okay.
but it was full of relays. They were switching and the lights and everything. It was just like a relay computer. It was like and you would be walking in these corridors between these panels full of relays, and I was there. And I remember my dad brought me there. When the door opened to that hall and I saw what's inside there, I was like, I know what I want to do with my life. I am totally sure this is a done deal. That's it. Right. And then, of course, the
Hacker
rest
at
is
heart.
history.
I mean, right away.
Yeah, so I started being interested in this and that, early internet, BBS, all that stuff.
Hmm.
And then I started programming basic, then Turbo Pascal, a little bit of assembly, little bit of this, little bit of that, Linux, and so on and so on. And
Hmm.
basically, I was after my high school, I was instantly employable. Everybody needed to fix his computer or her computer, so you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
But so you were instantly employable, which means that you had no incentive to go do formal studies, so you went straight to make money.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
went straight to basically to
yeah.
to the business, and
Hmm.
I was like that, for a long time. But then I noticed one very interesting thing. If you look closer at computers like Emacs or internet is a good example, or your web browser or your GPU or this call here, this call. If you look closer, you will really see that what really makes it possible is this mathematical advancement. Like for instance, you can have a packet switching and all this stuff, and it enables the internet. Or you can have
Mm.
this algorithm of compression,
Hmm.
and we
Hmm.
can see each other, right?
Yes.
So it's always like this kernel that is like hardcore, and that enables everything, right?
Yes.
And goes from there, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and I started listening as I was kind of walking outside and so on. Richard Dawkins, like his books on evolution,
Hmm.
on stuff. I definitely lost my faith, and I became like more scientifically minded, reasoning and stuff. And
Hmm.
yeah, I read this like teeny tiny book about mathematical logic. This teeny tiny book, like this thin, where is the camera? This small book, like how to think correctly or something like that. And it was about mathematical logic, right? Like the basic logic connectives and arguments, and De Morgan's laws and all these like basic mathematical logic. And I read through it, and after the last thing, I was like, okay, I'm not a Christian anymore, because when I go and do like proper thinking, it actually is not rooted in it's just like incorrect. So and
Mm-hmm.
I started like basically listening and reading these books about basically popular science stuff, right?
Okay.
And it was like going around pizza and smelling it but not tasting it, like, you know what I
Huh.
mean?
Yeah, they didn't go into the depth of it. Yeah.
You are like, just when you smell that there is some kind of relationship there, in these like equilibrium, for instance, between species and stuff, and you would be like, oh, if I could only see how it equates equation, right? But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't there, because every equation removes like million readers, right? So
Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be popular science. It would just be science.
yeah, yeah. So I was like, you know what? How about I go for the real stuff? And then, Mike, he always supports me in good stuff. He was like, start exercising, stop drinking, go back to school, do this, do that, like all the good things, right?
Oh wow.
And yeah, he's like, you can do work tomorrow. Just focus today on your homework.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I one evening I found, and this is what I want to basically do, like a big shootout to one school where everybody can sign up right now. So I knew that I wanted to study in English, of course, not in Slovak, right? Like, what am I, crazy? Like, it's the language of science. It's the language I read. It's the
Hmm.
language, where papers and documentation, everything is, in English these days.
Yeah,
So
of course, obviously, yeah.
yeah, so I was like, you know what? Why would I be learning all these terms in other language? So so I was like, okay, let's look into what are the options on, and I didn't feel like going anywhere. I have a family and everything, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I found this, like, there was this school. So I found this school, and it says on the website like, um, tuition free, accredited American university. I'm
Huh.
like, really? Huh? Computer science? Okay, you know what? And I literally, it was like 2 in the morning before bedtime. I just click become a student. I fill in the things, and I was like, I'm going to sleep as a student, right?
Good.
Literally, like, just boom,
But there is a
right?
theme there with late night commitments.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
patches, studentship.
yeah. Because you see, Mike is,
No,
we don't
it's fine.
speak
I'm
in.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just like
Yeah, yeah.
with the theme with the solar panels I was telling you earlier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it all ties to basically that my boss is in America or Australia, in different time zones. So it's either 8 hours back or 9 hours in the future or whatever. So I'm basically kind of have to
No, no,
make
that's good. But you didn't
difference.
mention the name of the school. So you said
Yes.
American,
So
accredited. Yes.
tuition free university. So this was a university. I think he's called Jay Rashesh or something like that. The guy who actually, the president, he had a vision of higher education available to everyone, to refugees, to African people, to everybody, even to women in Muslim countries who cannot now get to education legally. Everybody. And I just love that. I just like, wow, this is like so cool, right? And then Prot, believe it or not, this school has also a policy that everything has to be doable with free software.
Oh, wow. Which, of course, yeah, makes sense. I mean, they are already idealistic in the sense of knowledge is for everybody. So, yeah, makes sense.
Well, but they also run on free software like Moodle, everything. So here is the thing. Of course, Microsoft is like trying really heavily to infiltrate
Of
and so
course.
on. So I don't know if it's still true. I hope, because really, my current school now, I study a master's degree of artificial intelligence, because because that was my last course in computer science, was artificial intelligence. I learned how to do all kinds of solvers, for puzzles, and all sorts of like a search in like. I learned basically that all problems almost in life are basically search problems. You are always searching for something, for the
Yeah, yeah,
next
yeah,
word.
yeah. Mm-hmm,
You know.
mm-hmm.
So then basically the question is just how to search then. So and that's how I ended, and I figured, you know what, let's continue and go deeper into this, like this kind of like, because artificial intelligence is not only language models, like these days it's just large language models,
Yeah,
but of
yeah. It's
course.
not LLMs exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically I continue, but now the current school is nothing like that. It's just all Microsoft, Google. Everything is just so hard to log in, and everything is so flaky and syrupy, and there are like yeah, it's just bad. It's just bad. That's why I'm not going to even mention my current school. But this first school, I'll mention it. If you, anybody who is watching this video, if you want to fill in your computer science knowledge, and also maybe extend the knowledge to other things, like a little bit of history, a little bit of biology, a little bit of economics, a little bit of environmental science, a little bit of ethics, and so on. They have it all. And so I highly recommend to go to the University of the People.
The University of the People.
It's accredited both nationally and regionally now, like MIT. It is in fact famous, world famous universities uh, actually take students. Also, they have partnership programs. This is a real deal, a real university with real professors that and you need to pay just for a couple things, like say proctored exams, where some third party proctor is checking on you that you are not cheating, or stuff like that, right? Some exam fees and stuff. So together the entire degree was 4K, 4,000
Okay,
euros.
that's nothing. I mean, compared to a
However,
modern university.
However, if you don't have money, they will make exception for you. If you are underrepresented, if you are LGBT, if you are a woman, if you are in Muslim countries, if you are anything like this, they have scholarship for all of that. They are also supported by Bill Gates, and Melinda Foundation and all this. So there are the HP supporting. So there are lots of scholarships. So even if you don't have 4K right now, go and do it if it's your dream. To anybody who's watching, if it's your dream, go for it. One click, you can study in your own pace. There are no lectures to attend. Everything is async, so you
Ah,
can
good,
you can
good.
do it with family, and everything. It's beautiful. You will meet people from all around the world, literally. And Yeah, it's beautiful. And
I will check it out.
yeah, I literally became a different person after studying. You see, because there is one thing, I know people who went to university and they say they didn't learn much.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Uh,
mm-hmm.
every time I hear that, I see
It's a
it's a more
pity.
of a problem with the person than the university, because they always people are quick to blame some professor or some university or something, but really I am a strong believer now that the school really gives you what you give it, what you put in. That's exactly how much you will get back, exactly.
Yeah.
So for instance, I had a course recently on neural networks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a journey. If you don't cheat, if you don't use LLMs, if you do everything yourself, if you don't look things up, if you because we are learning by getting stuck, being stuck. If you
But
are
you
not
you are
stuck.
saying something really important right now, which is key here, which is like, well, if you put in the effort to actually learn and not simply to get a good grade and move on to the next subject.
Oh yeah, well, if it's well, that's really that. This is the old Greek university, like the original idea, the universal education. You well-rounded person. I love that, and I did become a completely different person. But I put a lot into it. I actually did a lot more stuff in my notes and stuff that was necessary, right? I opened discussions with professors. Like for instance, I have history of art, and
Uh-huh.
I was like for 4 weeks I was talking to my professor about one question that was at the beginning of the course, like, what is art? I'm like, I'm still not happy. I still don't think I know what it is. We need to talk about it. I really want to know what art really is, right? you
But
know
this is the kind of commitment and the kind of persistence and perseverance that, well, you stick there and you learn and you keep learning and you keep learning. Because here is the other thing. If you are like, yeah, give me the answer and I'm good, then basically what's the point of exploring any further? Like you won't explore. You don't have that kind of drive. You won't be revisiting it. You won't be digging deeper. You won't be pushing the boundaries.
But
And
you
of
won't
course,
be stuck.
and
You
you
need
will
to be
never be
stuck.
stuck. And we go back to what we said earlier about org. Well, you are pushing the boundaries and now you're discovering the limits. And you're like, okay, let's push the limits.
Yes, exactly. I strongly believe that being stuck is when you learn. Because if you are never stuck, then what are you learning actually? Right? Nothing
Hmm.
at all. Right?
Hmm.
So being stuck. So there is that friction that is actually key to learning. And if LLM or something removes the friction, well, guess what? You will never become actually deeply proficient. It's just like that, right? So anyway, so for instance, in this deep learning course, right? So imagine this, Prot. You are building your very own little neuron, just
Hmm.
one neuron.
Hmm.
Then you put more of them together, everything, and then from one neuron you start that you build from scratch, and now you have this network that can tell you whether something is pants or bra or t-shirt or something. And it's just like, wow, isn't it amazing? And I was stuck on exploding sigmoids. You know, there's the sigmoid function. It would explode. It would be numerically unstable. And I was just so stuck. The entire day I was like, I was mad. And when I figured it out, I was like, oh my God, I learned so much by being stuck entire day.
Yes.
So much.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
you put it into your notes, right? The university, I started writing these notes and they were like these essays. And then I figured this is useless to write essays. So then so these days I have a new rule. Well, not new now anymore, but I have this rule, right? I have some notes exported, by the way, on the web, but they are really just 5% and they are not really that great, but I'm working on it.
Hmm.
But my new rule for note taking, and this is kind of like revolutionary for me, right? Is that every note that I make can have or must have exactly one sentence.
Hmm.
That's it. That's
So,
it.
so it's basically you cannot distill it further.
Yes, and if you need to more, then that means that some more basic fundamental concepts should be linked.
Hmm.
So for instance, if you say, um, um, uh, that something like, for instance, what is a neural network, right? So you create neural network node. Like it's easy to ramble about it, but how do you put it into one sentence? So
Hmm.
you need to start with something that's already defined. So what is it really? What is it really?
Hmm.
Well, in fact, an artificial neural network, you start your sentence like this: a function. We see it's a mathematical function in the end. And it kind
Hmm.
of pushes you. And then what is a function? Well, it's a kind of relation. And what is a relation? What is this? What is this? Right? And you create like these single sentence notes. They are really like a lot of thinking and not too much typing. Um, and so actually, who said that? Uh, um, yeah, one of these Hemingway said it. Hemingway said, write one correct sentence, one true sentence,
Hmm.
right? That's all you need to do. All you need to do is to write one true sentence, right?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it's really changed how I do notes, and it deepens my knowledge. So this one sentence rule is good, right?
Because it
Oh, by
forces you to find the essence, like what is the common in the multitude of all of them, so you leave out all the details that are not relevant.
yeah.
By the way, what's how are we doing on time? Because I see my dogs, they are
Yeah, we
agitated.
are overtime. And
No,
by the
yeah,
way,
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no,
one
please,
one lit
please, please continue with this, and we
one little
finish on
thing
this.
about this.
Yeah,
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 one little thing about the sentence. The sentence actually can span half of the page with equations and stuff, right? So you can say like, let
yeah.
this
Hmm.
and d be that. It can be
Hmm.
code and everything, but it still needs to be
One
one sentence,
proposition.
yeah, one statement exactly.
Hmm. Hmm.
So by the way, one last thing. The other day I was actually thinking about you again.
Uh-huh.
Um, you mentioned in one of those videos on your keyboard that you use one-shot modifiers.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah, you still do, right?
Yes. 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 Of course. So,
Yeah.
by the way,
So
the keyboard.
show
Just
me, show me.
let
Come
me.
on.
So here.
Oh,
So yeah. Yeah. So.
beautiful.
So one-shot modifiers, of course, for anybody who doesn't know, it means that instead of doing, let's say, Control X, you do Control X within a configurable time window, and for me, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So you know what I did, by the way?
Uh-huh.
So just one little note. I know we are over time, but just one little
Uh-huh.
note on this, because this is my like
No,
freshest discovery.
for me, the thing is that the 1 hour limit is arbitrary, and for me, I can talk like 10 hours. The
Yeah.
only constraint is the dogs.
Yeah.
The
I think.
puppies. I have two new puppies, so they are here. No, but please tell me about what you did.
Yeah. So I discovered this program called Kanata.
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know if you
yes,
know it.
yes,
Do
yes.
you know it?
It's the one
So
written in Rust.
yeah. So
Kanata,
it's
yes.
basically like QMK, but in user space and Lisp like language configuration.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's very simple to prototype anything in
Mm-hmm.
Kanata.
Mm-hmm.
Now and uh, so I did. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Here.
No
Yeah.
pressure.
So I figured, so I created these lockable modifiers. So you can do Control Alt and then caps lock to lock them both,
Uh-huh,
right?
uh-huh, uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of beautiful because locking both Control and Alt, if you do paredit, is kind of painful, like Control Alt, Control Alt. So Control
Mm-hmm.
Alt and lock, like having a lock. So I picked caps lock, which is normally caps lock, but when something is like spring loaded, it actually locks the modifiers, right?
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
Yeah.
Just to
But
say about control meta in particular, I have a dedicated key.
oh, you do. I used to
Yeah,
do it as
yeah.
well. But here is the thing that I discovered the other day. I got this idea that you see, normally you lock control by double tapping control, right?
Mm-hmm.
In like standard sticky keys, scheme. But because I am locking with a special like a key, then I have actually. So I figured, how about we do two-shot modifiers?
Mm-hmm.
Because in Emacs, most keyboard shortcuts are Control C, Control U, Control C, Control P. So very often it's two things with modifier, or first with modifier and then not with modifier, and so on, right? And I
Okay.
think if you do the mathematics, if you do one modifier, right, it's not worth locking it because there's a Control A, right? Now if you do two, you do Control A, Control B, right? Or you do Control lock, right? Or Control, then A, B, and then Control or unlock.
Yes.
But there is a space in between where you can shave off one key if you have two-shot modifiers, and it also makes it super duper ergonomical. So then you can do just Control and just like CC, or Control,
And then it unlocks automatically. That's it. So it's lock two ahead, basically. That's what you mean.
yeah. So that's my invention, two-shot modifiers. So I implemented them yesterday, the day before yesterday, yeah. And I have been using them since then. Man, it's super addictive.
But now that you mention this, of course, why can't we not have a 1, 2, n modifier? Why can't we not have that ahead of time? So 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say, and then C, V, B, T, whatever. So I did a 4-shot modifier right now, kind of thing. You see what I'm saying?
well, but if you do the mathematics,
Uh-huh.
anything more
It
than
would be 2, 2. Yeah, exactly. I see. Yeah.
now everything that more than two shots is then shorter with locking, like you shave off,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
But there is this blind spot with two keys. But not many people are talking about it because maybe in other software it's not that common. But in Emacs it's everywhere. Like two-shot
It
is
is
everywhere.
common. Yes, it is common.
Yeah. So for Emacs users, two-shot, one-shot are both super. So this two-shot thing, I'm just so. This is the kind of stuff I'm tinkering with.
Yeah. Like conceptually, it makes perfect sense. Yes.
It's also if you try it,
It
and do like
sounds
control
easy.
control
Sounds easy. Yeah.
it uh, Yeah, it is perfect because you see, if you have control on a thumb
Hmm.
key,
Yeah, the thumbs
right?
there.
Then doing like say control X, control S, typical.
Yes.
Control X, control S. Now, if you do control XS, it's so fast and too
Hmm.
short.
Yes,
It's
yes, yes.
mwah. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
I will publish the Kanata thing when it's like fine
Yes,
tuned.
yes, please, please. And I'm curious if we could do the same in QMK directly.
Well,
Well, I
of
imagine,
course.
yes, yes.
Yeah, Turing, Alan Turing already proved that in 1920s, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's computationally, it's complete, right? QMK can do anything, really,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Although it's super duper pain. It's exactly like programming in C++, versus Kanata is like this lively loaded Lisp. It's like so easy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
If
yeah.
you, I recommend Kanata over QMK for everybody who doesn't need to like take their keyboard to work or anything like that.
Yes, yes,
If you have
yes, yes.
stable
Because
setup.
the having it in the firmware is basically because you can move the keyboard to another computer. Otherwise, if you have your computer, yeah, of course. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Now
The
I'm
Kanata is better.
intrigued.
Yeah, well, listen.
Yeah, of course.
The
Like it's like you are speaking exactly to the target audience right now.
Yeah, Kanata is. You know how easy it is to. In fact, it's the first time where I prototype anything on the keyboard, any kind of crazy idea,
Hmm.
because I have literally, I have literally a code block, Lisp data code block in org mode, and I just copy the heading, change some things. It's
Tap
just
tap
beautiful.
CC.
Yeah, yeah, it's beautiful. It's just great. So anyway, so this note taking with one sentence. I highly recommend it for anybody who is learning like a new thing. Like for instance, you are learning biology and you are starting from scratch, right? And you don't know what peptide is, or you don't know what this is or that is, right? So that is perfect because it doesn't feel like work to write one sentence. Like what is it? One sentence. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah. Well, it's deceptively simple.
Yeah,
You have to do a lot of thought to reach that one sentence.
yeah. But then also it's kind of beautiful that I noticed that my old notes that are in the like moral prose form, right? Like not one sentence, less mathematics or no mathematics, or less code, or like just like rumble 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 rumble. I actually find myself not returning back to those notes that often,
Hmm.
but these one sentence notes I actually keep kind of improving them as my understanding improves, because how hard is
Hmm.
it to change like three things, and your eyesight just glides over,
Hmm.
and you are
Hmm.
like, oh, actually we should say distinct elements when we are defining set, not unique, because it's a little bit, or this and that,
Hmm.
just a little thing here and there,
Hmm.
and then you become like this, uh, person who just seems to like know stuff, right? Well,
Yeah.
because you fiddle with it,
Because there is
right?
clarity of statement and precision of concept. It's really wow. Let's end on this note because the dogs are agitated.
Oh,
I
do
see
you
the
still have
I
the
see the
the two
movie.
puppies and
So it's
two
two puppies and
kittens?
two older dogs as well. Yeah. So I have four now.
So worst case scenario, you can eat them to circle back, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, no, no. I have to say I don't eat animals.
No, no, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. Listen, again, thank you very much for everything you are doing for the community.
You're
I
welcome.
think literally everybody wants to thank you, and maybe people forget because your videos, and every time I interact with you, every time I open an issue or send you an email or something, about modus themes, compilation buffer or whatever we were doing, I felt that you really pay attention to who is on the other side, what they are saying, what they are communicating. It's just such an amazing experience. You are professional and you also pay attention, so you don't feel like your words are not that they are kind of just go like poof, right?
Hmm.
That you really
And
gain.
I kind of remember people like, because for me it's also like, well, we are a community, which means that there are actual people involved. So like somebody opens an issue like, I don't know, 3 years ago, and I'm like, hey, nice to hear from you again or whatever. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
and I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, to me that's a part of the what draws me as well to this community. It's like, yeah, you have to know each other. I mean,
I think one little thing that is missing in our community
hmm.
is all people like you or system crafters, or distrotube or all the other people who present some Emacs stuff and stuff, right? It's usually just either tweaking stuff, learning stuff, or working on some package of their own or their own config, right? But very rarely you see a stream where people like fix little bugs in org mode, outstanding things, and stuff like that, where
Hmm.
people could actually kind of get an idea. Uh, is that instead, because we have lots of packages in the Emacs world, but I still think that the core and especially org mode is suffering badly from lack of manpower, right? You know
Yes,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
it does for sure, it does. Yeah, it's a tricky case because if you have a little bit of time, you want to work on your own packages, and yeah, it's a tricky balance. It's a tricky situation. But yes, of course, I agree with you. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, because usually that's what people see. Like people don't even know often like where to begin when they find out some little bug in Emacs, like say they fold a heading and it doesn't fold, and they can reproduce it, and they'll be like, well, how do I go about fixing this, right? And there is very little content on this in video form, like very little. Everybody's working on their own stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So maybe maybe that's maybe I should
I was about to say, yeah, be the change you want to see.
yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Very well, Rudy. Thank you very much for being here. By the way, if you have any links you want me to include in the description, please send them to me because we mentioned a few already.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
the
Probably won't be nothing.
Yeah, but even if it's nothing, yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Okay, so you are going to walk your dogs?
Yeah, yeah, we have to. So they are still puppies. We will just play around here, and we will go for a little walk, like slowly. They don't have stamina to go for our actual walks.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
So
enjoy that.
thank you,
Enjoy
thank
that.
you.
Thank you very much for the talk.
You're
Great
welcome. I
stuff.
had a great time and I learned a lot. And now, of course, there are like a million rabbit holes opening up.
Yes, yes.
So
Fantastic.
take care. Good luck with everything. And we will meet again somewhere.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Goodbye, Rudy. Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. So closing, and I have to find OBS. So take care, folks. Goodbye from my side.